Hi Nymfam and welcome to a new video. We had a shock announcement today, hot off of the press, that there will be a bumper double game week in game week 26. So I'm just doing a very quick video to digest this news. If you're loving the content, then please comment below. Let me know if you're excited for the doubles ahead. Please drop a like. Let's try get 60 likes on this video. That would be fab. Lastly, if you're new to the channel, then please do subscribe. Okay, let's get into this. Today, the news dropped, the fixtures were out, we have a bumper double game week in game week 26. So this graphic is courtesy of FPL Olympian, please do go check him out on Twitter. This pretty much explains exactly which teams have the double and who the best assets are ranked in order to be targeting in these fixtures. So of course, the top one is Liverpool. Liverpool will face Norwich and Leeds. So of course our main people from that would be Salah, Trent, Robson, Jota, all the big guns, all the players we know about. Now, Liverpool do have a cup final where this double is. So there's a little bit of concern about some rotation maybe. So this is something maybe to bear in mind. At the moment, this is feeling very much like triple captain territory for the likes of Salah. However, we're going to have to wait and see if we get some news on when he gets back from AFCON, if he's getting a rest before all of these fixtures, all of that jazz before jumping in on that triple captain chip. Maybe, you know, some of those presses from Klopp are going to be absolutely crucial. But it's very much feeling like at the moment, community FPL think on Twitter is that, you know, triple captain chip, if you haven't already used it, looks to be going to be placed on Salah in this double game week, which means that if you want to use your triple captain chip, that then renders any other chip null and void. So free hit would be out the window. You'd have to pick and choose there, which would be interesting because if it's looking a lot like Salah is going to be the most captained or the most triple captained in that game week, then his ownership alone is going to make it very dangerous going against him for the triple captainship, which means if you're not set up for this double and you were thinking of free hitting here, then that could be potentially very dangerous. Okay, moving on. Arsenal are looking great also. Second up there for FDR. Brentford and Wolves, great fixtures for them. Of course, Tierney looking great with some of his attacking threat. Ramsdale, you know, has been one of the better keepers in terms of points this season. Martinelli and Saka right up there. Now, as an Arsenal fan, I can tell you I was very disappointed that we didn't sign anyone else in the window. That is concerning. So what happens with our squad and how much depth we have could very much depend on how great these assets are going to be in this double game week. Next up, we have the Watford lads. We all thought we'd seen the last of them, hoped we'd seen the last of them. Those of us doubled up on King and Dennis are going to have a real think about now whether we keep them, get rid of them, what we do with them exactly. Of course, we need to wait on some news on Foster, but he's looking like he's back from injury, as is Sarr. He played in the African Cup of Nations and I do believe he assisted Mane in one of his goals. So Sarr is back and looking good, so you'd imagine he will take part during this double game week. Whether or not that makes King and Dennis better options, I guess it all depends on how Roy decides to set up this team now going forward. So this game week is going to be pretty crucial for getting a look at that. Of course, Sarr won't be back yet, but you'd expect him to feature in this team. I mean, we all know how good he is. Next up, we have Burnley. They have Brighton and Tottenham. Of course, this is a difficult one. Pope probably being the only real kind of standout. Maybe Cornet starting to pick up a bit of form. Everyone talking about Weghorst, the new signing at Burnley. Had some really good previous seasons. Apparently last season wasn't his best, but everyone's expecting him to kind of hit the ground running at Burnley. This is a tough one. I guess we'll just have to hope that he plays in the next game week or two so we can get a good look at him and decide whether or not he is one to target for this double game week. Palace, they've been doing much better now. As we know, they have Chelsea and Watford. Edouard, of course, his minutes are a bit all over the place. However, he is returning in those minutes and he is right up there in points. So I think he's a good shout for his price tag. Zaha, of course, been to AFCON, might depend on when he returns and how he fits back into that system that he currently hasn't been in for a couple of weeks. And of course, Elise looking really good too. Spurs, now things get a little bit more difficult with these fixtures. We all know that Kane has been more informed the last 5 game weeks. He's looking great. Son is back from injury, so we expect him to feature in the next game week or 2, which would make him a possibility for the double game week. This is going to be a tough one, whether or not to go Son or Kane, because most of us are not going to be able to afford Salah, Son and Kane as our premium options. So that one is going to be kind of a bit of a flip of a coin, much like I think Ronaldo and Bruno has been. Wolves, we all know they've been great in defence. Leicester and Arsenal not so great in terms of their returns. You know, a few assets I think from Wolves will be likely more on the defensive side. Last up is Leeds. You know, it's only really one. I think Olympian has pretty much covered it here. Rafinha is only real option there that I think I'd be considering for that double. As it stands, maybe Harrison. So I've just done a quick mock-up of what this would be like. This isn't a free hit team though. If you were considering free hitting, it is something you could potentially do. But it's just really to talk through all the best assets, where I've differed slightly with Olympian in a couple of places. But it just shows you the type of team you can get or some of the players you could be working towards for the double game week. Ramsdale looking great for his price. You know, some may still already have him. I'm not sure how many will have moved already to De Gea, but he's a great shout potentially for this double. Foster, of course, Watford, having the double up. I think he's back from injury now, so it should be okay to go for him if you're looking for a cheap second keeper, though bear in mind there is rotation there, you know, and all depends on injury. Tini looking great attackingly. You know, he's been fantastic since his return. I'm always a bit nervous of him. I feel like he's made of glass, but he has definitely returned recently, so I think he is definitely worth some consideration for the double game week. Trent, of course, is earmarked in most of our teams, so we'll gloss past him. Robertson is going to be a big decision whether to go with Robertson or Jota. Most of us will already be on Jota, so I guess this is more for those of you that are considering wildcarding ahead of game week 26 and then shifting your funds around. Robertson would definitely be worth some consideration because you'd expect some clean sheets in those fixtures. Cody is where I disagree slightly with Olympian, only because I think that I'd be a little bit worried about Aït-Nouri's minutes. I'm not really sure why he missed those chunk of minutes a couple of game weeks ago, whereas I feel like Cody, Kilman, a lot more nailed for Wolves, so I'd be kind of leaning on one of those more so, but I do like Aït-Nouri as a pick. Just, yeah, those minutes would worry me slightly. Gone Sanchez here, only I think Reguilon is the obvious choice, but I feel like Sanchez just seems to be doing a little bit better and he's a bit cheaper. So yeah, that's why I've popped Sanchez in here. Rafinha goes kind of without saying. Salah, again, goes without saying, but obviously be aware of rotation. Left Bruno in here, doesn't have the double, but I suspect most people will be on Ronaldo or Bruno from the United double already. You could, of course, switch these up to Son or Kane. You know, those leave those spots open for you, but it's just showing you what you can get for your money. Saka could be Gallagher. Again, some of you may already have Saka or Gallagher, so if you do, then great. And obviously, I've got Son in at the moment, but you know, you may want to be keeping some single game week players in your locker with your likes of Bowen. As I say, this is just a rough example of what you could do if you were free hitting or considering a wildcard. But if you were considering wildcard, you wouldn't want to go all in on these double game week players. Edouard, as discussed a little earlier in the video, looking great for his price. Obviously has a double game week now, so I think he's a good shout. Left Dennis in. Yeah, Dennis versus King. Where do you go with this? Who knows? Probably nowhere. We'll all be running away from them in a couple of game weeks and not wanting them for the double potentially. But with a double game week, you're likely going to want one of them. And which one you choose is going to be a headache in itself if you're not going to be brave enough to keep both of them if you're already on them from this double game week. And as I said just a second ago, Ronaldo could be Kane, and likely if you have Ronaldo, he would be the obvious replacement after this double game week. to get in ahead of double game week 26. I hope that's really helped you guys, and it's a little look into the double game weeks and what's coming up in game week 26. Obviously be aware that we do have a blank just ahead as well with Brighton and Chelsea, so you know, bear that in mind for some of your players. I'll be back soon with some more content, so thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Until next time, Nymphria out.